Welcome to Ripple Impact. Our guest today is a coach, a co-author, a mother, a community connector, and someone who is very, very passionate about the community. She is also a transformational life coach. Glenda Sheard, you're welcome to our show.
Thank you so much, Abraham. It is truly an honor to be here on your show today. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
You're welcome, Glenda. Glenda, looking at all that you do, being such a passionate person about the community, and you seem to be so passionate about tomorrow. Can you tell us why you speak about passionate tomorrow, and what does that stand for?
Thank you very much for asking me that question, Abraham. I am indeed passionate about my community. Community has made a very, very significant difference in my life, and so has compassion. About 23 years ago, my only son, Daryl, passed away. And it was a time in my life for many years that I was very, very lost. And I didn't know how I was going to go on. And what I learned and what I was given is what I love to talk about when I speak about a compassionate tomorrow. Because when people that love you, your friends, your colleagues, your volunteers from the community invest in you, especially when they don't always know what to do or what to say, because they may have never walked in those shoes. That is when I learned the importance of being empathetic, about you don't have to walk in someone's shoes or someone's life in order to be passionate, compassionate, thoughtful, mindful, how to listen differently, because those are things that truly make a difference and made a difference in my life. And there was a time that I never thought I'd be passionate about anything again. And it's something that people are like, "You're so passionate, Glenda." And I'm like, yes, I am. But you receive wisdom in life, and I believe it's what you do with that wisdom, and giving back is so important.
Wow, that's so touchy. I mean, like you said, it's not always easy to know exactly how someone feels, except you find yourself in that shoes. So losing someone, your son, your only child, for that number of years, I can imagine, what it has been for you. And yeah, I know one of the ways you have been trying to overcome that feeling of pain is to try to be compassionate with others and try to give to the society and give to the community. Because there are a lot of people who are out there, either they've lost someone or they've lost a parent or they lost a loved one, and they really don't know how to handle the situation, right? They may not be as fortunate as you are to have found a way to cope with that situation, and helping people based on your experience to give back to them has been one thing that I believe can change a lot of people's life. Now, Glenda, can you tell us about your Communications with Confidence program? I know you have a program called Communication with Confidence that you've been using to help people communicate more confidently. Can you tell us about this and how you came about this, please?
Thank you again for that question. Communication is part of who I am as a person. And we all hear about communication all the time, whether it's communicating with our colleagues, with our family, with our community. But communication is much more than speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And where I learned this, of course, was, as you and I are both fellow Toastmasters,
Mm-hmm.
I learned that there are other very important parts of communication. In fact, listening,
Okay.
listening differently, or I like to call it listening louder. When a person listens differently, it's almost undescribable how much more we learn about the individual that is speaking, and it helps us assess information differently, as well as it improves our dialogue. And so communication, to communicate with confidence, and that is something that many people are like, you're a professional speaker, Glenda, I don't know how you get on a stage. And it's like, well, it takes time, and it takes support, and it takes investing in yourself, believing in yourself to be a confident communicator. But I've learned from the masters. I've learned from many, many professional speakers that I've had the opportunity to see, or personally, or to watch on YouTube. I mean, the world is an open opportunity when it comes to YouTube. You can learn anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So communicating with confidence, it's life-changing. Because when you, like I say, you listen differently, you assess differently, you deliver the information differently. And also, there's another component that I've added to my Communicate with Confidence program, and that is empathetic leadership. And it's interesting. Since the pandemic has started, we've heard two words that I'm very well aware of. One is pivot, which is
Mm-hmm.
so important, that everybody is changing and adapting and pivoting, right? But the other word is empathy. And I believe to be an empathetic leader, first of all, you have to be authentic. You have to be
Sure.
real, regardless whether you're a corporate CEO of a major organization, a small business entrepreneur, or a stay-at-home mom, homemaker. We all deserve empathy in our lives, as well as we all can give empathy. Because, I know people say to me, oh my gosh, I never knew that you lost a child. And I'm like, well, I don't walk around with a sign on my forehead that says, hi, I lost a child. And they're like, well, you're so compassionate, and you're so empathetic, and you're so positive. And I'm like, it hasn't always been this way. I
Mm-hmm.
had to learn to find hope, right? So again, being an enhanced communicator and using empathy, listening differently, having an appreciation for our colleagues, regardless whether we like them or not, having a true appreciation for our family, never taking them for granted, for our friends, for our community. And also, I believe that it takes a lot of courage to pivot, to be a different kind of leader. I read in a Toastmaster magazine, as a matter of fact, and the article was talked about leading with love. And I thought, well, isn't that interesting?
Wow.
Adding love into leadership. It's
Wow.
about respect. It's about gratitude. It's about appreciation. It's about listening differently. So that's what the my Communicate with Confidence program is about, with the new element of empathetic leadership.
Wow. Such great insight. Now, the word you used there, leading with love, being empathetic, it's quite strong because we have a lot of people who, of course, in quote, say they are leaders, but of course, they don't have the interest of the followers at heart. And I believe that makes a lot of difference. If you lead the people with their interest in heart, it makes a lot of difference. And it cannot be, it's something that is obvious, right? When you lead people with their interest in heart, you are empathetic to them, you lead them with love, that means their interest is covered. You are very much concerned about what happens to them and what does not happen to them. You want to see them grow. You want to see them progress. You want to see them change. You want to transform them. This is something that I believe it's very obvious. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you when this happens, right? So it is very key, like you try to make us understand, leading people with that empathy in mind and having their interest or love, it's something that can create a lot of transformation. In fact, if not for anything, that makes your followership to be more loyal to you, right? Being empathetic, right?
Absolutely. I can't say enough about this, Abraham. There are many, many people in my life that have never walked my journey. Yet they know, going back to my son Daryl, they know when my son's birthday is. They know when is the anniversary of his death. Many of them, do you know, at Christmas time, and I hope that we still send Christmas cards because everybody's sending it in an email. Anyway, do you know that there are years that almost every Christmas card I have received has an angel on it? That is people listening and knowing what's really important to me. I have one of my friends that in 23 years has never missed, like I said, my son's birthday, the anniversary of his death. She always in my Christmas card always writes my son's name.
Mm.
And I can't even put into words what that means to me. And we all have the opportunity to do those type of things. There's a quote by Leo Buscaglia that it's at the bottom of my email. I love it. And this describes so much what I'm trying to say and what I've received. And this quote is, too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the opportunity to turn a life around. So regardless whether it's in our personal lives, in our professional lives, or in our community, we have that opportunity. We don't know just by looking at someone what their journey is or has been, but a simple smile, and you can tell even nowadays with us all wearing masks because of the pandemic, I can tell when somebody at Safeway is smiling at me. I can. And we all have that ability, Abraham.
Right. Absolutely, yes. It cannot be hidden with the marks or without the marks. Smile comes from the heart, not only from the face. It starts from the heart, then it transmits to the face. So if you don't have the smile in your heart, then you can't show it on your face. So there is no way to hide that, right? So that is quite important. Glenda, by the way, you also MC at events, you speak at events, you MC at events, and I understand when you speak, you try to combine empathy with humor in your speeches. Can you just tell us a little bit about some of your moments on the stage, how you engage people with empathy and humor?
Well, again, thank you for asking that question. As you know, and as any speaker knows, It's all about your audience. Of course, we get all nervous and we're like, oh my gosh, are they going to like me? Are they going to not like me? And what I do is I always remind myself, Glenda, it's not about you. You're the one that has a message to be shared, but it's up to your audience as to whether they receive it. And we know that not everybody is ready for our message or needs our message, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So because of many of my experiences, my life experiences, those are areas that I always bring to the stage. And quite often when you talk about some real heavy duty stuff, you learn quickly that you better add some humor, because otherwise people can only take so much stuff that might bring them down, right? And also I've learned as a professional speaker that I do have a message.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that my audience receives it. And when they do, it's amazing what happens, because you can see, even when you're on a stage and you can't see, but you can feel it with your heart. And you know, at the end, when they applaud for you, you know that the message that you brought for the audience, that they received it.
Mm.
So that is one of the greatest, as a professional speaker, that's one of the greatest feelings in the world, when you know that your message was delivered and well received.
Mm. So basically, when your message is impacting people, right, transforming lives, that's when you feel you have really you have done your bit of the work, right? It is important because why, like you said, why, what is he about? Is he about you? Some people go on stage, they want to talk like they are talking to themselves. They don't connect with the audience. You made it clearly, you clearly stated that it's about the audience, not about you, which is very true. The audience may have paid huge sums of money to sit down to listen to you, or even if it's a free event, they have committed their time. So it is worth giving them the value that they deserve, so that the next time they hear you are presenting or you are in an event, they'll be willing to, to register and be there. And they can also promote you through word of mouth. When they tell their friends, oh, I was at this event, Glenda Sheard spoke at this event, and she did this, she did that, she was so amazing, this is what I learned. And you don't have to miss it. Their friends may want to, be at your next event. And by doing that, you're already promoting yourself. So I also realized that you are also a podcast host. You organize interviews like this, and the title of your show is Keeping It Real. So can you tell us a little bit about your podcast?
Thanks again. Wow. Thanks to my coach, Fong, for inspiring me. I think he's inspired many of us and motivating me to have a podcast. And he gave me a great deal of help. And I've learned that there are bazillions of people with podcasts. So how am I ever going to get the audience? By promoting it, by telling people, by asking people to share it, just like with our YouTube and so forth and so on, right? But yes, I'd like to have 1 million listeners, but more importantly, what Keeping It Real is about is exactly that. It's about authenticity. It's about real life. It's about good days It's about bad days. It's about hurt. It's about love. It's about inspiring others. It's about community. It's about real life.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, whether I have 3 or 33 or 3,033 listeners, it's the people that come and listen and support me by listening, and then some of them, they send you feedback, and you know that, again, regardless of how many people are listening, if you touch one heart, if you make a difference for one life, that's success.
Wow, that's interesting. Imagine if every single person on earth touches one life each day. Imagine how many lives will be touched at the same time. That's
Well, but we have that opportunity. We all do, right? Letting somebody in traffic might seem like the simplest gesture, but we don't know. That person may have just learned that they have cancer,
mm,
or they may be rushing to see a relative that doesn't have much time, or maybe they're going through a divorce. These are all just regular, normal things that are going on every day in life, right? And so I know I've had people that have let me in traffic on days that were very dark. And that when I got home, that's what carried me, was knowing that somebody offered me kindness.
mm.
And speaking of kindness, I think it's Happy World Kindness Day, Abraham. It's today.
Oh, what a coincidence. Happy World Kindness Day. So happy World Kindness. So we all have to go out there and give a little bit, an act of kindness to everyone we find. Our listeners, today is Happy World Kindness Day. So for those of you that may have or may be seeing this much later, just remember that today, being the November the 13th, is Happy World Happiness Day. So I'll put that down in my calendar. I never knew about that, and I'll make sure I don't miss it the next time. And I will do my best also to show kindness to someone. If not by, I can put a call across to someone I haven't spoken to for a while, just to remember them and share a little bit of kindness. And I believe everyone can do that. It's not in the day itself, but it should be something that we do daily.
Amen. It's I find it interesting that we have World Kindness Day and National Kindness Day and Random Acts of Kindness Day. And I think, isn't every day Kindness Day? And I am far from perfect, believe me, but kindness is a motivator for me, because when you are kind, even
Yes.
to people that you think don't deserve it,
Right.
it comes back to you tenfold.
By the way, everybody deserves kindness. That was
Amen.
the word going. Thank you so much, Glenda, for that wonderful information that you just passed on to us. And and talking to us a little bit more about keeping it real. I by the way, love the name, Keeping It Real. Life should be about reality. People should be real. There's too much of pretending and too much of fakeness in the world. And that's why the world is the way it is. If everyone comes out to be unique and to be exactly the way they are created to be by acting in that manner, I think the world would be a lot better than what it is right now. People pretend to be what they are not, and that is hurting the world. Yes, so that's my take on that as well. So Glenda, I just wanted to find out, what is a typical day like for you?
Oh, well, now everything is different for everyone, but I'm still a very busy person. I currently work full time for a library. So I have a full-time job. I have an immense passion for the business that I have and that I'm rebranding right now, as well as for the work that I do for 360. Also, I'm a member of the most amazing, amazing mastermind group. We meet twice a week. I also have several Zoom meetings, as we all do. And I live on an acreage, so that keeps me super busy. And community it's different now. The
Mhm.
community is mostly by Zoom, and that again is because of what's happening with the pandemic. Um, so I still and I read well, working for a library, I guess I better be reading books. There's so many. I'm reading a book right now on branding yourself, being known. It's called Known.
None.
And well, it's, here we are on YouTube, and we've got our websites, and we're all wanting everybody to seek us, right? To seek us as a speaker or as a coach or whatever our services offer. And so I'm learning even more about the importance of authenticity, of being who you are and being passionate about who you are. And when you do that, it truly is is for me, is the measure of success. And that's what I'm working behind the scenes around all the other parts of my life, building a brand of Glenda Sheard and a compassionate tomorrow.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful. Wow, that's powerful. Thank you so much, Glenda. Glenda, can you give us in one word what would be your advice for our audience?
Hope.
Hope. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Glenda. Glenda, this has been a very amazing time, with you on this show. And I believe every one of our viewers will have found something that will help them to have hope. Listening to your story, even though you just gave an abridged version, it's something that will help those who are out there who may have had the kind of experience you have had may not be the same, may not be their only child. They may have lost someone, right? But in your case, he's your only child, and you lost your child 23 years ago, and you have been able to pull yourself together to do what you're doing multiple things, coaching people, transforming lives. You've co-authored a best-selling book. You are emceeing, you are speaking on stages, you're carrying out community work and all of that. That is so much for that you have been doing. And I believe a lot of people will borrow from your leaf and begin to take one step at a time that will help them to move past their current situations. Thank you so much for being with us again. And I hope that we can have you on our show some other time. Thank you, Glenda.
Abraham, thank you so much for inviting me to be a guest on your show. When you extended the invitation, I was so excited. I've watched other people that you've had, other guests you've had, and I'm like, wow, I'm gonna get to be on Abraham's show and share a little bit about my story. And I thank you for your empathy, for your leadership, for your compassionate, and for asking the right questions and for listening so well. This has truly been an honor, Abraham.
Thank you so much.